You're 18 months into the job now, so economic growth forecasts have consistently been downgraded. Unemployment forecasts have worsened. Debt has significantly increased. That surplus that you promised would be delivered in 2027 now won't be delivered until at least 2 years later, and only because you've changed the way it's accounted for. Mm-hmm. You sell yourself as the party of economic management, but since you took over as finance minister, almost all headline economic indicators have got worse. How does that make you reflect on your time in this role?
Well, it hasn't been an easy run. And what I reflect on, and I think New Zealanders increasingly see it and understand it, is that we did inherit an awful fiscal...
Oh, Chewie, come on. We at least got one very clear blame Labor. We got it. We found it. It's Labor's fault we have to borrow more than Labor did in their whole 6 years. It's Labor's fault we had to give $17 billion back in tax cuts and landlord reimbursements and hundreds of millions of dollars to tobacco companies. It's It's Labor's fault that we had to give money to private schools. It's all Labor's fault, Chewie. All us emptying of our purse is all Labor's fault to have to borrow now, Chewie. Didn't you know? It's a very simple
Look, what I'd say to you, Jack, is this. The moment that we won the election, I knelt down and I tied my shoelaces together and then tried to go into a full sprint. And although I've fallen on my face very, very hard and have continued to fall on my face very, very hard for the last 2 years, I will not change path or strategy. I will continue to fall on my face for the remainder of this term in government. I have learned nothing. I will learn nothing. This is it. This is all they've got. They have spent so much time saying that they are the sole economic managers of any skill, and they haven't been able to dig themselves out of this hole because they're just standing at the bottom of the hole yelling at each other, maybe if we dig up. Like, this is the dumbest of the dumb government. And it is because they are just operating on their ideologies and not facts. It is okay to look at the facts and see how they fit your ideology, but to completely ignore all advice from Treasury, from economic experts, from just fucking common sense. Look around at countries that have tried austerity. There is heaps of evidence that it does not work. Some of them currently in progress. But you've gone, no, we're the financial geniuses in the room, we'll make it work. And it hasn't worked, and it continues not to work. And the forecaster said, well, it's pretty much going to continue not working. Fucked if I know what to do from here. See you next year, Jack.
Maybe. She might not want to go back. We've got 40 seconds to wrap up, and then we're going to wrap up the show.
And understand it, is that we did inherit an awful fiscal and economic mess. The last government had ratcheted up spending in a completely unsustainable way. It had ratcheted up debt, and the underlying economic fundamentals for this economy hadn't improved over their time in office. I need now to take responsibility for getting that fiscal house back in order, for making sure we're bending that debt curve down and taking a fundamentally different approach that doesn't make growth second to all.
Fundamentally different, yep. That says we're going to screw over the vulnerable. Fundamentally different from the last guys.
All of the other things we might like to do, but puts growth front and centre. And I'm confident that the decisions I've made have made things better, not worse.
They have not.
Well, then
sorry to break that to you, Nikki.
Yeah, you live in a different
fundamentally, provably have not. Nor will they. Both you and your boss have a slogan that you want to hit. It's about growth. You don't know how to generate it. Ultimately, you can come up with all the slogans you want. If you don't know how to implement it, which you clearly don't, then it's not going to work. You've done something that I say the National Party is really good at. You've identified the problem. It's the productivity. We have a productivity problem in New Zealand, and you might not be able to solve it in a one-term government, which is exactly what you're going to be at this rate.
Yeah.
But you can't identify the problem and then ignore the fix because it's not politically expedient and it doesn't suit what your donors want.
Yes. Preach.
We need to do big transformative things The time for shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic is over. We need to change our tax bands dramatically. Like, there needs to be a no tax bracket that's bigger than it is. We need to look at Australia, because we want to talk about Australia's growth. First of all, copy paste their tax bands over. That's pretty much what the Greens have in their budget too. Just saying, it's right out there. Then get the money out of our housing. Then crack down on the banks and the supermarkets. Those are all things that would have a huge benefit on every single person in this country. And then you can start looking at the nice to haves. The free early childhood teaching, or folding early childhood centres into the Ministry of Education. Looking at our health service and making sure it's funded better, because we've looked at our tax and used the evidence that the IRD has provided and has been ignored. Like, these are the things that need to happen. Nicola doesn't want to do any of them, or has been told that she can't. I think it's the first one, personally.